everyone, welcome to Manifest IAS. You are watching Current Zoots. This is the crispest current affairs that you can get. Under the science and technology current affairs, we have done almost all the areas except information and communication technology. So this video and the next video will be covering the information and communication technology issues. And firstly, we have tried to pick up the policy matters. And under that, we have picked up different policies which have come up in the recent past. So if you can look at the topics, firstly we'll be taking the national policy on electronics. Subsequently, we'll be taking up the national policy on software products. Then the different missions like broadband mission, then supercomputing mission, then the national mission on quantum technologies, and finally the national mission on education through ICT. These are very important as far as the prelims exam is concerned. The provisions under these policies may come as the prelims questions, and also as far as the mains is concerned, we should know in and out of these policies to write better answers. But as far as our focus is concerned, it is for the prelims examination. Please note down the key deliverables of these policies, and also the provisions under these policies, and the different objectives that we have, and also with respect to the infrastructure, what all we are building under these policies, we have to note them down.
Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
As the first topic, we'll be discussing about the national policy on electronics. So far, this policy was subsumed in national telecom policy. Under national telecom policy, we used to have the separate section for the hardware development also. But after the formation of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, MeitY, we have a separate policy for electronics from 2019. So under this policy, we are trying to make India as a global hub for electronic systems, and this electronic system design and manufacturing is abbreviated at ESDM. This sector is called as ESDM, and we are trying to make a global hub. As far as India's contribution is concerned in this field, actually it is less compared to the all global players. So India has to pick up in this particular area, and it has to match up the IT services it is giving. So India is mainly the IT services hub right now. As far as the software products are concerned and the electronics products are concerned, we are lacking behind, and we have to have such policies to give thrust to the manufacturing of electronic devices. And it will try to encourage and drive the capabilities of the current situation, especially with respect to the components of these electronic devices, including the chipsets. Chipsets are like a very important or the crucial part of our electronic devices. So chipset, or if you can call it as a fabricated chip, so it is very important. And these silicon wafers are like a platform on which the circuits are built. So we are giving thrust to the core components in these electronic devices, including the chipsets, and it will create enabling environment for the industry to compete globally. Yes, we have to accelerate our manufacturing process as far as the electronic devices are concerned, and we have to march ahead. Then the key themes under this policy are: we have to develop manufacturing ecosystem. It is not purely about having the manufacturing industries. It should have a proper forward linkage and the backward linkage too, and there should be a enabling policy environment in the country, maybe with respect to the federal units like states and union territories. So we are trying to build those manufacturing ecosystems with all the forward and backward linkages. And as far as the fiscal incentives are concerned, under telecom policy also we had given fiscal incentives, especially in the areas like ESZs. So that will continue for the electronic devices further. Then promoting R&D. As far as India's growth in the IT industry is concerned, it is mainly with respect to the services provided by the IT industry. As far as the product development is concerned, the R&D facilities in India or thrust to R&D is less. Though Indian diaspora, which are working in the Western countries, they are into the R&D, but as far as the conditions for the R&D on Indian soil is concerned, it is very less. So we have to grow in that particular sector also. And the other subsectors we have to think upon. That is the fabless chip design. Fabless chip design, it talks about without giving the thrust of manufacturing of the fabrication of chips. So basically here the fabrication of the silicon wafers or the chips that will be outsourced, and other devices maybe with respect to circuits or other components of the device will be designed. But as far as the fabrication of the chip is concerned or the silicon wafer is concerned, that will be outsourced for the specific or the respective industry. And also with respect to the medical devices, since India has second highest population, and with respect to the disease incidence is concerned, definitely we depend upon many medical devices. Now our infrastructure as far as the medical devices is concerned is exposed during the corona pandemic. So we should not give way for such bad things. So definitely we have to give thrust to the medical devices too. Maybe it is the diagnostic kits, or with respect to the other devices like some ECG devices, or the devices that are used for the diagnostic purpose and the therapeutic purposes. And also with respect to automotive industry, we mainly depend upon the other developed nations for the electronic devices that are required for the automobile industry. Then the value chain, what we are talking of, it should be having a robust security also. So along with the trusted electronics value chain, we are thinking of cyber security also. That is the basic component of any policy where some digital communication or the communication is involved. So we are getting secured through such threats also. And the preferential market access and the export promotion, this is part of any policy to get the remunerative prices and also the export destinies. The next important policy is the national policy on software products. And as far as India's growth is concerned in the information technology, we are marching ahead in the field of ITES, that is information technology enabled services. Even if you think of the ITS hub like Bangalore, so it is not mainly into the development of the software products. We are mainly concentrating on the service industry. So we are good as a human resource or as industries in the service sector. But as far as the R&D investment and R&D exposure is concerned, so India is lacking behind. So this policy will give thrust to the R&D in software products. And we are trying to become a global leader in conception, design and development and production of these software products. So right from the idea to the end product, we are having a proper chain, and we are giving thrust to all the levels that are involved up to the production of these software products. Then as far as the acceleration of the growth is concerned, we are trying to accelerate the growth of entire spectrum of IT industry. So again, we are thinking of ecosystem, building of ecosystem. It is not just about the industry which is producing the main product. It is also about the linkages and also about the peripheral help, or with respect to the procurement, and also with respect to marketing, and even the employment and the skill will be involved when we talk of any ecosystem. And the missions under this will be to promote the creation of sustainable Indian software product industry. So India, though Bangalore is called as the Silicon Valley of India, but it is not living up to its name or to expectation. So if at all we want to live up to that expectation, we have to grow as a software product industry rather than a service industry. Then to nurture the technological startups. Yes, as far as the startup environment is concerned in India, it is very good right now with a lot of thrust through Digital India and many initiatives like Make in India. We are even the handheld guidance or the investment in the form of seed capital, all that thing. We are trying to help the new startups. And very important thing to note here is to develop this industry in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. If you look at the concentration in Bangalore of these IT industries or the software product industries, so it is leading to the pressure on the urban amenities. So definitely there will be a disparity in the regional development also. So in India, we are trying to build different hubs at tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So that is a very important aspect of this particular policy. Then to create the talent pool. So as far as the engineering college is concerned and the research facilities in India is concerned, it is not less in number, but as far as the quality that we are delivering is very dismal, and we have to give thrust to build that pool also, or the capital, especially for the software product industry. We have to upskill the IT professionals, and also we have to orient the school children or the college students towards the software development. Even that is main part of this particular policy. Then to specialize the professionals, as far as the approach is concerned, there will be two types of approaches. One is a generalistic approach and one is a specific approach. So we are trying to give thrust to the specific things, and we want to have the professional in different domains, and that too they should be very much focused on particular domain. So such professionals we are trying to build. And as far as our approach is concerned or the strategy is concerned, we are trying to build the cluster. So cluster based innovation we are trying to impinge. So basically here the ecosystem what we are developing, so that will be a cluster based, and in that cluster, so there will be all kinds of linkages also, and all kind of services that will be getting, even with respect to procurement and the employment. So we are doing it in a cluster basis. Again, when we talk of clusters, tier 2 and tier 3 towns are very important here. And under this we have a national software products mission. So it is a mission under this particular policy, and we are congregating all the pillars like government and the government's help, or with respect to the public sector industries, and also the academia we are trying to bring in, and also the industry. So the synergy between these three, government, academia and industry, definitely will make it will make very good use of this mission, and will come up with very good products. And as far as the global value chain is concerned, definitely India is going to contribute if this policy is implemented well. Then the next part, or the next mission, is National Broadband Mission. And we must have heard of National Digital Communication Policy 2018. So National Digital Communication Policy 2018, it is a broad policy under which we give thrust to many things like broadband connectivity to all. So when we talk of broadband connectivity to all, first we give thrust to the government institutions in rural India, and the Wi-Fi in the rural and urban areas. Then we go to the fiber first initiative. So it is a very broad initiative, that is the National Digital Communication Policy. Under that we have different missions. One important mission is National Broadband Mission. This National Broadband Mission, it will try to give broadband for all. That is, like, the broadband communication will be served to all, even in the rural areas. And this is the mission of NDCP 2018, as I told. And the principles what we are trying to follow here, the universality. So the availability of broadband should be penetrated even to the rural India. And especially through this, we are trying to bridge the digital divide. Digital divide is nothing but the gap between the digital havers and the digital have-nots, or the people who are well versed with the connectivity and the people who doesn't have connectivity. So digital divide, it has many aspects. So we are trying to bridge that digital divide through this mission. And affordability, as far as the affordability is concerned, we have to make the availability of this broadband at the nominal rates, or initially the government can subsidize this particular rollout to the rural India too. Then, with respect to quality, we are getting very high speed broadband connectivity, and it will be highly reliable also. And more than anything, it will be a secured connection too. Then, with respect to the key deliverables of this mission, all villages will get the broadband by 2022 under this national broadband mission, and the availability of high broadband speed. It is not just about the connection; it is also talking of 50 Mbps speed across India. So, hope will get such connection in the near future. And also, as far as the fiberization is concerned, fiberization, it is nothing but connecting the areas with the optical fibers, or we call it as OFC, optical fiber communication. We try to connect everything by the fiber. In this, we are trying to increase the fiberization, that is per square kilometer laying of these fibers, so that has been increased. And also we are speeding up this process of putting the optical fibers. And tower density, as far as the tower density in India is concerned, it is increasing year by year. So we are seeing to it that there should be no area where the digital coverage is not there. Then the other important aspect of this particular mission is the national fiber grid. We are trying to have a grid-like structure where we can get the information of all the OFCs in India. So it is kind of an integrated infrastructure, maybe the integration between states or the integration between the service providers. So we are trying to build that national fiber grid so that we can have the complete map of the OFCs in India. Then facilitation of rollout of 5G. 5G is a very basic thing for the next generation applications. So the rolling out of 5G is also on the plate as far as the national broadband mission is concerned. And definitely this is under the Make in India initiative. So the Make in India initiative will be implemented in such a way that maybe the local procurement or the local sourcing will be done in a very fair manner, and it will give thrust to the MSMEs also. And under this national broadband mission, we have to think of or we have to study of the submissions also. Submission, first one is BharatNet. It is there in the news. And BharatNet, it will try to provide the 1 Gbps speed or the broadband connectivity to Gram Panchayats, and it can be upgraded up to 10 Gbps. And next initiative is the GramNet. GramNet, it will try to provide the 10 Mbps speed to the rural development institutions or key rural development institutions. And Gram Panchayat, yeah, there is a separate initiative called BharatNet. And for all other rural development institutions, we are providing with the GramNet. And if you look at the speed, definitely the BharatNet will be having more broadband speed. And as far as the NagarNet is concerned, we are trying to provide 1 million public Wi-Fi hotspots in urban areas. So the people, the general public can access this particular Wi-Fi. First two, they are for the institutions, and the next two, maybe NagarNet and the Gen Wi-Fi, it is for the general public. So first one, NagarNet, is in urban area, and Jan Wi-Fi in the rural area. And other missions of NDCP, just we have to glance them. Fiber First initiative, it is trying to get the fiber connection to all the households in India. Then National Digital Grid. So we are building a national digital grid where we can hook up many computers or hook up many systems for a coordinated study or coordinated applications. Then spectrum, we are treating spectrum as a key natural resource. Thanks to the scams that we had in India earlier in the year 2010-11. So we are rolling out this spectrum with a very careful notion, treating them as a very important natural resource, because it is a remunerative business to roll out the spectrum. So as far as the 4G and 5G is concerned, definitely we are treating this spectrum as a natural resource or the key economic resource. And as I told while I was telling about 5G connections, so for all next generation applications like IoT or cyber physical systems, so we are depending upon this broadband only. So when we invest on this broadband, at least for next 20-30 years, we'll be depending mainly upon this broadband only. Then, as we told in the space part, we lack a particular regulatory authority or the regulatory regime for the satellite communication. Only we have two different policies like SATCOM policy, that is for satellite communications, that is mainly the communications, and the remote sensing data policy. So as far as the regulatory mechanism is concerned, that is missing. So that we are trying to bring through the space activities bill. So this is what we have to look into the national broadband mission. And as part of this national broadband mission, we are trying to give thrust to the readiness index. This broadband readiness index, it nothing but it appraises the states with respect to the broadband infrastructure they have, and also the conducive policy environment they have in the states and the UTs. So this particular index is built by the Department of Telecom along with the Indian Council for Research on International Economic Relations, ICRIER, and they have signed a memorandum to bring this broadband readiness index, and until 2022 it will give annual report or the annual appraisal of the states and duties. And it is to attract the investments also, because many Indian states are working on their own policy to attract the global investors in their states. So this particular index will act as a key indicator, or like the key data to attract that investment from the foreign countries. So this particular index will also give the information on the right of way. Right of way is nothing but when the private players try to acquire some of the land, or through the governments they try to acquire land, or they try to take the lease of the land, then right of way will come into picture. And in India we have a lot of challenges with respect to that right of way. So even this broadband readiness index will appraise the states in terms of the policy matters they have for the right of way. Then the index will tell about the condition of the digital infrastructure. It is with respect to the tower density what we have, and maybe with respect to the optical fiber communication that we have, and with respect to the investment that we have in the digital sector or in the broadband sector. So that will give the picture. And also it will try to help the states to learn from other states, or it is called as a cross learning, or they can jointly participate in achieving this particular objective to have the digital inclusion. So it will also create kind of a competition for the investments. So definitely every state will try to have better digital infrastructure, and also they will have to have a conducive policy environment for the foreign investment, and also as far as the outlying for the broadband is concerned. And the ranking will be given to the states and UTs depending upon two things. One is the digital infrastructure they have, and second thing is the conducive policy environment. And this BRI will consist two parts. One is the infrastructure development parts, and there are 9 parameters for this. And these 9 parameters we need not look into, because it will tell about the number of towers we have and the optical fiber communication length that we have. So it gives from the supply side, so what the state is having currently. Then the next thing is the demand side. Demand side, it is from the people or the users. Basically it will talk about the number of mobile users, number of internet users, number of broadband users, or the penetration of mobile phones, or the penetration of the devices, or the penetration of the internet connection. So this will talk from the demand side. So these two will be taken care in this particular index. It is very important, and only two things we have to remember under this. It is the readiness of the state with respect to digital infrastructure, and second thing is the policy environment. The next mission is the supercomputing mission. So before knowing this, you have to know about the supercomputers. Supercomputers, yes, with the more capacity, with the more operational speed, and with respect to the number of parallel processes that it can carry, we name the supercomputers, or we rank the supercomputers. And there is a LINPACK ranking. LINPACK is an initiative, or it is a company which gives the ranking for the supercomputers across the world. So that will be ranking those according to the Linpack benchmark. So the speed of the computers will be measured on the flops, that is the floating point operations per second that we measure. And right now the very good supercomputers, or the supercomputers which are at the rank 1, rank 2, they work in somewhere petaflops, that is 10 to the power of 15 flops, or the floating operations per second. Then, as far as this mission is concerned, it will try to emphasize the or empower the academic and R&D institutions in the country, and we are trying to comprise more than 70 supercomputer facilities in India under this mission. So far, very high for performing supercomputers we have at two locations. One is at Noida and one is at Pune, and they give the application, or they have application in the weather forecasting mainly, and their names are Pratyush and Mihir. So under this mission we are trying to build such supercomputers, and we are targeting 70 such facilities in India. And these supercomputers will be hooked to a national supercomputing grid, and that will be overlaid on the national knowledge network. This is the initiative where we are trying to get all the education institutions or the research institutions connected. So even the national super computing grid is going to get connected to the national knowledge network, and the facilities will be used for the solutions or the applications which are having the national relevance, or with respect to the solutions for Indian society. So that is what we are trying to get through these supercomputers. And also it will try to upgrade or the upskill the human resources what we have. So already well skilled or the high performing professionals, so they will be given more thrust as far as the training or the upskilling is concerned. Then again, as far as the ambition is concerned, yes, we are trying to become the super power, or with respect to supercomputing, we are trying to become world leaders. And as far as the scientific research is concerned, through this we are trying to build the state of art computing facilities for the cutting edge research. So it will enhance the India's research, and we are trying to get these supercomputer facilities under the state of art conditions, and it will definitely reduce the redundancies. When we have a national grid, or when it is connected to the national knowledge network, definitely the overlapping or the redundancies will come down. So it will cut on the cost also. So definitely it will save for the exchequer. And as far as the application is concerned, supercomputing, like the application is very wide. Wherever we use computer, in all such areas, wherever we have bigger data or the metadata what we have, so under those conditions we can find very meaningful results with the supercomputers. So we are trying to apply these things in varied areas, and such things will be maybe with respect to the subatomic physics, or with respect to the weather forecasting, or with respect to other things like data science. So we are trying to apply this supercomputing mission in many fields, and this is the mission implemented jointly by Department of Science and Technology and Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. The next important mission is the mission on quantum technology. So here we have to understand a bit of quantum computing also. The general computing is depending upon the communication of bits, that is 0 and 1. But as far as the quantum computing is concerned, we are trying to use the qubits also. Those are the intermediate positions between 0 and 1. Here we talk of different positions like superpositions and also the entanglement. So these are the different positions what we use. And as far as the research in quantum technology is concerned, in India it is at a very nascent stage, because these quantum computers or the quantum technologies will use some of the superconducting materials. They will work at the sub-zero temperature. So you want to have such technologies or the facilities, we have to build such conditions where we can maintain the sub-zero temperature, which is very conducive for the functioning of these particular technologies. So in India, the research is at nascent stage, but this mission will definitely help that particular thing. And this was the highlight of budget 2020. The outlay was to the tunes of 8,000 crore for this particular mission, and it is implemented by Department of Science and Technology. And the focuses or the key areas on which we are focusing is varied fields like fundamental science, translation, technology development, human and infrastructural resource generation. So wherever we can apply the computers or the computer technology, in all those fields we can apply this quantum technology. Since the outlay was announced very recently, so the modalities we have to work out. So as far as the policy matters are concerned, we are only having the clarity as far as the application is concerned. So these are the areas we are trying to apply this particular quantum technology, and it will draw upon the existing deep strengths within the academic institutions. Many institutions are having the facilities, or the facilities for this quantum technology are ready. We need to integrate among them, and we need to invest on the present facilities too, and it will definitely help us to get the interdisciplinary approach, and the results what we get from these interdisciplinary approach will be very fruitful. So this particular mission is very important. Then as far as the applications or the result orientations are concerned, so definitely we are trying to build the systems with quantum encryptions, and that will be used in the cryptanalysis and associated technologies. So here, as far as the thrust is concerned, the outlay is very high, 8,000 crores. Only we have to see the proper modalities in the future and the proper implementation of them. So as far as this particular mission is concerned, we have to just know about the outlay, and we have to know about which particular department is implementing this, and we have to know about the quantum computing, the basics of quantum computing we have to know along with this current affairs too. And the last mission what we have in current affairs as far as the ICT is concerned, it is the National Mission on Education through ICT. National Mission on Education through ICT, we are using the information and communication technology for the education. Maybe it is in the primary education or the higher education, or into the centers of excellence. We are trying to build ICT right from the school to the research institutions. So under this, we are trying to harness the potential of ICT facilities in India, and definitely it is going to help in the teaching and the learning process, and indirectly it will benefit all the learners, and especially in the higher education institutions across the country. And it envisages mainly the access and equity. So everyone has to have an equal access, and also there has to be some equitable factors also. So we are trying to provide the low cost and the affordable devices, or the access come computing devices. Maybe it is through the mobile phones, or maybe it is through the laptops. So we are trying to take this particular ICT to every student and teacher. The next aspect of this is the quality. So it is also the main pillar of any education. So we are trying to fulfill this quality through the e-content. We are trying to generate a very quality e-content, and we are giving to these particular devices. So such one initiative was through the Akash tablet, what we had seen in 2014-15. So after that, we didn't have much success about that Akash. Now, if you look at the private sectors, there are many education institutions which are trying to bring their pedagogy, or trying to bring their services through online mode only. There are many apps, there are many dedicated tablets in the private sector. We are trying to emulate that thing from the public sector also, and it will seek to bridge the digital divide. Yes, anything that we are doing in the digital communication, and when we are trying to take it to the grassroots level or the rural level, definitely it will bridge the digital divide what we have in India. And such an effort will be very fruitful when we concentrate on the education institutions to connect through the ICT, and it will have a focus on the e-learning, virtual labs. So we are trying to make most of the things virtual here. Online testing and certification, many exams can be made online and the certifications can be made online. Even the availability of teachers and the mentors can be made available through online. And with respect to the utilization of the facilities what we have, like EduSat and the DTH, so definitely they are going to help. So in the lockdown period, we have seen most of the education institutions were trying to shift to the online mode, and even most of the state governments also have come up with their plans to cater the needs of the students in these difficult times. So definitely the ICT is the next big thing as far as the education is concerned. So these are the main policy matters what we had to discuss. So please go through all these provisions and study them well, and especially for the preliminary part, you have to look at the provisions and the outlays or the important initiatives. And as far as the mains is concerned, the whole policy matters or the India's objectives broadly we have to see. But right now we are concentrating on prelims, so try to look at the provisions and some of the facts. So read well, revise well, then practice the papers well. Thank you very much.